I think of that movie, Black Swan. Have you seen that with Natalie
I've never
Portman?
seen that.
It's a psychological thriller. It's really a weird story, but it's one of those that'll stay with you for days and days.
Hmm.
You know, the lead character, she wants to play, both parts in Swan Lake. And she's having trouble with the Black Swan part because it's she's trying to bring this out of her personality, and she's working real hard, rehearsing real hard and stuff. And the choreographer asks her, why are you working so hard? She goes, because I want to be perfect. And he says to her, and this is something I quote now a lot because I feel that way. He goes, being perfect is letting go. So you practice, you practice, you practice, but when you get to that point of performance, you gotta let go. You gotta let go. And that's the one where everybody goes, wow, what a great performance that was. And not compare yourself to other people who played the same piece or anything.
Hmm.
Just you're gonna let go, and hopefully your individual, unique personality will shine through it, and people will say, "That was really good.
Yeah.
That was really good," because you touch people.
Yeah.
And I mean, when you get to a certain level, everybody's great. You
Yeah.
know,
Oh yeah, you're in the big leagues.
yeah.
Well, I had an interesting conversation on a previous episode with New York-based trumpeter Kiku Collins. Kiku played with Beyonce and
Gloria Gaynor.
yeah, and Gloria Gaynor, yeah. And we were talking about a little bit about her career, and I was asking her about being on the big stage and stuff like that, and she's like, you know, I have zero fear on the big stage. Said, but I'm terrified in a small club because I can
Mm.
see people. Yeah, she's like, if I'm playing in a big coliseum, you really can't even see the people in the front row because of all the lights and stuff like that. So she said, I'm just kind of I'm just playing, and I can't be distracted by other people. If I'm playing in a small club and I see somebody like looking at their watch or something like that, then it starts to get in your head. So it's real interesting how some people have that have the fear of the large crowd. Those like people hate public speaking. Some people have a fear of intimacy, so they have problems with smaller spaces. So it's kind of interesting how the psychology comes into play, and you have to kind of find your groove, and what works best with you. But I think sometimes the problem, particularly in the performing world, is that people aren't happy with the space that they're in. So you have people like, well, oh man, I would be so happy if I had a gig like Harry's, and I'm touring the world and I'm playing these large stages and these big productions and blah 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 blah, without thinking about the demands of that job, because there's a different level of intensity in terms of rehearsal schedules, travel schedules, production and things like that. It's different doing that than just walking into a bar and playing two or three sets. And you have to have a personality that is going to allow you to do that without having that level of undue stress. So having been in the business so long, and especially playing the type of music you play, what's the advice that you've had to give people in terms of how to navigate this world of, for lack of a better word, high profile gigs? What kind of advice do you say? Do these are the things you really need to make sure you're on your game on, and this is the stuff you can just kind of chill out on.
Well, it all has to do with confidence. You know, feeling good on your instrument. So that means that you spend enough time doing maintenance and warming up, even on days off, uh, so that you could hit the stage with confidence that your chops are going to be working. Uh, the other part of it is being confident in who you are, and know you're going to go out there, and you look forward I'm not an egomaniac or anything, but like when I invite people to the concerts and stuff, me that wait till you see this, you know, wait till you hear what we're doing. It's confidence. So there's no fear. The only time I've had fear is when my chops aren't feeling good, when I'm going through changes with my chops, and then I get what they call the flop sweats. That's the Rodney Dangerfield
Yeah.
thing where you start sweating, and that comes from playing in a club and bombing. So he created this flop sweats thing, and I've experienced that. I'm playing something and I know I'm not going to make it to the end, or I'm soloing it and my chops aren't working, and I'm going to play something less dynamic than I intend to, and I start sweating like crazy. And I know that if your chops are good, you have confidence, and if what you're playing is good, you have confidence, and if you know what you're doing is validated by everybody around you, you get have confidence, and if you're engaged. I use that word a lot because a lot of people think that all the stuff you do is just show, but no, the show aspect of it won't be convincing if you're not engaged. You can't fake that stuff, you know. And then having confidence in what you position. I remember Celine Dion in an interview. They were talking about chops, and she said it's really funny because during those performances where she has the flu or a cold or something like that, always, without a doubt, that's when people come out and say, I've never heard you sing that good. It was so touching. It was, and they asked her, why do you think that is? And she said, I think it's because I knew I couldn't rely on tricks and chops. I had to be myself with what I had. And that's interesting because, you know, when a musician knows what they have, and it's not all just razzle dazzle, and come a day where they don't have that razzle dazzle, but they could still move people because they're relying on who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they may not do all the crazy shit manure, and but they still touch people, and sometimes they touch people even more because they got back to the basics, and that basics is who you are.
Yeah.
What it was, what you learned the first song. You didn't try to play a lot of razzle dazzle. You played the melody the way you felt it, and that convinces people. So, there's a lot of ways to look at it. You could be very confident with your pyrotechnics. Uh, is that a correct word?
That's a correct word.
But there's got to be a time when you're very confident about who you are and what you convey in music, and that would be passion and sincerity.